Husam Zomlot is the Palestinian Authority ambassador to the United Kingdom. He joins us from London this morning. Ambassador, thank you for joining us. You were most recently also the representative of the Palestinian Authority here in the United States. Secretary Blinken was in Ramallah today. There were no public statements made. Was this a tense meeting with your president?
Yes, because there are differences. Our president demanded an immediate ceasefire to the atrocious, murderous assault by Israel on our civilians, on our people. This is not a war against Hamas. It's clear since it started, it's a war against our people, not only in Gaza, by the way, but also in the West Bank. 10,000 innocent civilians, almost half of them are children. And therefore, this is the key point now, not only because we want to stop the atrocities, the carnage, the deliberate killing of our people, but also we don't want this to spread over. Every minute we wait, there is a risk of spreading over. And thirdly, we need to see the U.S. playing the role of an honest mediator, not adopting the Israeli narrative and the Israeli line, given how hysteric and, with genocidal rhetoric coming out of Tel Aviv right now. We needed a grown-up in the room, and that is the U.S. Unfortunately, we haven't heard that, and that's why we did not come up with a joint statement. We had some good ideas from the Secretary of State Blinken about the future. We had his commitment to a political resolution that will bring about an end to Israel's occupation, a comprehensive one that includes the West Bank and Gaza, with East Jerusalem as the capital of the state of Palestine. And we agree with all of that, but there will be a time to discuss that. Now is the time to stop the barrels of the gun, to stop the murder of our civilians.
Well, you're talking about...
And this whole talk, Margaret, about humanitarian poses, is simply irresponsible, poses of crimes against humanity. So we're going to pause for 6 hours killing our children, and then we resume killing the children? I mean, this doesn't stand even international law. So yes, there are disagreements, and we seek more.
Let me interrupt you here and say, the Deputy National Security Advisor to the President gave the Palestinian Authority credit for maintaining stability in the West Bank today. Israeli forces say they detained 1,200 people since October 7th, 740 of them associated with Hamas in the West Bank. So how stable is the West Bank and the Palestinian Authority right now?
It is not stable, and that's not an accurate description of the situation in the West Bank. Our people in the West Bank all over are subjected to attacks by the settler militias that your White House and Secretary of State spoke about. It's very volatile and dangerous. Many Palestinians over the last 3 weeks, you're talking about more than 134, the last number I got, killed by illegal Israeli militias and the Israeli army. You're talking about provocations in Jerusalem, and you know how volatile the situation in Jerusalem, and you're talking about an assault against our people everywhere. So this isn't about West Bank and Gaza. The West Bank and Gaza are subjected to the very same exercise. Now,
understood, but I'm asking about let me ask you, though, about your government, because there is a serious conversation being had by American diplomats about the Palestinian Authority taking on a role of governing in Gaza as well. So talk to me about that, because we just heard, that you have a financial problem right now, in part because the Israeli government is withholding some of the tax revenues and claiming they're doing it because the Palestinian Authority hasn't condemned Hamas adequately and those October 7th attacks. So do you want to clear the air and clearly condemn the attack in Hamas today?
No, I want to clear the record. First of all, the Palestinian Authority is not what represents the Palestinian people. It's the PLO. It's the Palestine Liberation Organization. I represented the PLO in Washington. Now I represent the PLO in London. The PA does not have external arms. The sole legitimate representative of the Palestinian people is the PLO. Number two, let me clarify another matter. It's the state of Palestine that will take over and protect its people in the West Bank, in Jerusalem, and in Gaza once the Palestinian occupied territory is liberated. Number three, it is the opportunity for the U.S. to be the peacemaker.
I'm sure you're concerned about that tax revenue,
let me
do you want to clear the air and condemn it?
de-designate the PLO from the terrorist list in the U.S. Congress. Your Secretary of State just shook the hand of the head of the president of the PLO. After 30 years of signing the Oslo Accords, after 30 years of committing to international law and negotiations, the U.S. should do that. The U.S. should recognize the state of Palestine and allow us to be a full member in the UN. And the U.S. must immediately stop vetoing our attempts at accountability in the ICC.
These are decades worth of problems. Decades worth of problems. I'm just asking about this one specific issue on October 7th and the tax revenue.
Not the kids. No, it's the result of us not really focusing on the root cause. This is the moment of the U.S.
I understand there are deep root causes, but on that specific condemnation, it would just be a very quick answer.
And allow me, Margaret, because I watched your interview with the Israeli ambassador, and he said two things very important. He said, you know, those are unintended consequences, the 10,000 innocent people, the almost 5,000 children. I want to also clear the record here. This is deliberate, and this has been the Israeli military doctrine since its establishment, hitting the civilians, so they put pressure on the fighters from the time of the Nakba 1948 and pushing out, ethnically cleansing 2/3 of the nation to Beirut and Sabra and Shatila, to Gaza and everywhere. This is a military doctrine. Number two, Israel commits to international law. If they commit to international law, this is not a war. A war does not happen between an occupied and an occupier. This is an oppression, repression of our people. Wars only happen between two sovereign states. So this is a moment when you empower the state of Palestine that will be able to protect its people, Margaret.
We have to leave the conversation there, but it's very clear that it's really the United States talking about a peace settlement, two-state solutions, and you did not clearly condemn that. So, Ambassador, thank you for sharing the Palestinian point of view.